Very special hour about to take place live from our concert lobby. We're going to present Dan Hill, who is a singer, songwriter, and now author. And you will just sit back and enjoy this. You can listen to it live on AM 740. Of course, it's streaming live on our website. So check that out. It's going to be a great show. Going to throw it down to our host for this afternoon's concert, Darrin Maharaj. Darrin.
Hi there and welcome to the AM 740 concert lobby. Wow, what a great crowd we've got in here. The place is jam-packed, wall to wall. We've got an amazing concert for you this afternoon. We've got one of our favorites. He's one of the most amazing, one of the most successful Canadian songwriters, Grammy Awards, Junos. This man's got them all. Please put your hands together for Dan Hill.
Thank you. Thank you, Darrin.
Thanks for coming by and visiting us again.
I've been looking forward to it. Very much so.
And I understand you brought a few guests with you, too.
Yes, I brought two of my closest friends, Joe Seeley, whom you've already, talked about. He's my mentor. He's like family. And then Liz Rodriguez, who's one of the best, most successful singers and songwriters ever to come out of Canada.
Now, we've got pretty much a full hour to bring you guys some tunes from his new album. We got a brand new one. We've got it right here. It's called Intimate. And
right.
We've been waiting quite a while for this one, Dan.
Well, I got distracted writing songs for other singers, which was great, because I believe for all of us, Zoomer's actually written about this in their magazine, that it's good to mix things up. We want to stay fresh, exactly. Right? In a relationship, you want to mix things up. In a career. So I took 15 years off to write songs for other singers. So then when it was time to write and record this album, it felt fresh again.
Well, it's good to have you back, my friend.
Thank
now,
you.
We're going to talk about the album a little bit more. We're also going to talk about, we've got so much things to cover. We're going to talk about your new book.
Thank you.
The man's got a best-selling book. Look at that. Also, we want to talk about your webpage. We want to talk about your Twitter. We want to talk about your Facebook. There's a lot of stuff to go over. So we might as well get things started and get straight to the music.
Sure.
Your first song is called I Am My Father's Son, which is also the name of the book.
That's correct.
And your label. You have a label.
That's correct, too. It's, devoted to my father. I Am My Father's Son was the last song I played my dad before he died. And I went in as a typical father-son. It was like a closure thing. I said, Dad, I got something to play for you. And he's in a wheelchair, and, he was, his legs had been amputated. He was about to go into his last coma, and he still had fire. He said, oh, my God, I have to listen to another song about a son complaining about what a bad dad I was. I don't want to listen to this stuff anymore. I'm tired of this new age nonsense. He was fiery right to the end, which I loved about him. I said, no, Dad, it's not one of those like Mommy Dearest, Daddy Dearest songs. You just have to listen to the song. I played him the song, and he wheeled his chair right between the speakers, was listening so intently, it was like I knew he was thinking up arguments to every lyric. But when the third verse came, it talked about the first time I saw him cry. And he started to cry, which he rarely ever did. And the strange thing was, I was seeing him cry for the last time as I was hearing the song about him crying for the first time. Wrote the song, then he passed, and I was so devastated, I couldn't write songs for a while. It hurt so much. So I wrote a book about my dad and me and our relationship because it helped kind of heal this void. And then when I finished the book, I was ready to jump into songwriting and make a new record.
Something tells me we should break out the Kleenex for this one.
Oh. Well, Dad, if you're listening somewhere, this one's for you. Okay.
Here's Dan Hill performing in the AM 740 concert lobby, the track, I Am My Father's Son.
The strongest man I ever knew never was a match for you. Always wanted your attention. Never knew just how to get it, so I rebelled. Tried to be your opposite, I did it well. Strange but true, how our lives are like a circle now, very much like you. You were my unsolved mystery, always barely out of reach. At baseball games when parents came, you were always missing, that's okay. You had your meetings and promotions anyway. Somehow I knew, the more I tried to be so different, the more I was like you. Memories die hard, love dies harder. have no choice, 'cause when all is said and done, I am my father's son. The first time that I saw you cry was the morning that your daddy died. I stood there in amazement as you packed up your suitcase. I heard you say, son, I need you here to get me through the day. And through your tears, saw the boy inside the man was suddenly so clear. Memories die hard, love dies harder still. I forgive you, I have no choice, 'cause when all is said and done, I am my father's son. 'Cause what is love without forgiveness? When all is said and done, you did the best you could. Let go of the anger, let go of the anger when I understood. Memories die hard, love dies harder still. I forgive you, I have no choice, 'cause when all is said and done, I am my father's son. Always, always be my father's son. I'll always love you, I have no choice, 'cause when all is said and done, oh, I am my father's son, the strongest man I ever knew.
Dan Hill performing I Am My Father's Son in the AM 740 concert lobby. Very moving, Dan. And as you can see, everyone here really appreciated that. And we love the story and getting the insight behind how the song all came together. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the CD. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting is inside the CD, he's got this little booklet. Oh, who's this?
Oh, that's
Who's this cute little
that's
guy?
Me as a little baby, and I think my dad's hand is in there somewhere. Yeah, it's already straightening me out at 7 months of age.
Now, inside this booklet, it's got what you call song stories.
Yes.
And it basically explains the story behind every song. Is it for every song that's on here?
Well, actually, I did write a song story for all 15 songs on the Intimate CD, but I was told that it would be an extravagant waste of paper in this environmental time. So ultimately, I'll put them all up online, but I believe on this CD, like for example, My Father's Son, which is on the first song I recorded for the CD, there's a story about me and my dad. And there's a few other stories. And I joke around that it actually took me longer to write the stories than it took me to record the album.
One of the stories in here that you'd like to share with us?
Well, one of the stories that I really like was, kind of dovetails into the next song I'm about to play, which is I Do Cherish You, which is, I guess, the biggest hit song I've ever co-written that was recorded by someone else, meaning it was a #1 country hit for Mark Wills. It was a #3 pop hit for 98 Degrees. It was on the Notting Hill soundtrack. And that was a funny story because my friend Keith, who's one of the best writer-producers in the world, said, we got to write a hit. And I said, Keith, I don't write hits. That's not the way I write. I write from the heart. I've never, ever tried to write a hit. He said, stop your sniveling, get down to Nassau, and write with me. Mark Wills needs a hit. And we wrote 6 songs in 6 days, just holed up in Nassau with nothing but a guitar and a keyboard.
One after another.
The first 5 songs weren't that good. But then, bam, he drops this idea on me. And I said, oh, my God, this is a smash. I said, Keith, why did you wait for the last second to do it? Were you testing me? through these 5 songs to see if I was worthy. And he said, all I know, Dan, is that you have to have this song done in 3 hours because I'm flying back to Nashville. And I kind of felt that he was saying, if you don't get it done in 3 hours, I'm going to hand this song off to any one of 100 hit Nashville songwriters. I was scared out of my mind. I went downstairs.
No pressure there.
Fear is a very good motivator. So I finished the lyric, we did the demo in Toronto, sent it to Keith in Nashville. I didn't hear back from him. I thought he hated it. I finally call him. I say, what's going on? You don't like the song anymore? You don't like the demo? He says, it's already rocking at #1 with Mark Wills. It was just one of those crazy stories.
Wow. Look at how many units you've sold. It's something like ridiculous, like 100 million in total?
Well, you have to understand, I started writing songs and putting them out before you were born. So, no, in all honesty, so I have the advantage of age, and I'm like the tortoise, right? I'm not the hare. I've never ever one year dominated as the hottest songwriter, but every single year I'm always putting out songs. So since I've been putting out records that have done pretty well since '75,
pretty well,
it adds up. Yeah. So I think it's just that I've worn everybody out.
So what's your secret? How do you know when you come out with one? Do you know when you come out with a song that this one for sure?
Not always. I knew with I Do Cherish You, the song I just told the story about. I don't know why, but I would say sometimes you really know. You just feel it in your gut. But the reality is, for a song to be a hit, it has to be more than just a hit song. There's so many things that cannot go wrong in the process. I mean, the artist has to sing it properly. The record company has to. For I Do Cherish You, the one I'm about to do, it was 98 Degrees' third single. So what if the first 2 singles had stiffed? Then I Do Cherish You wouldn't have been a hit. So I was lucky. The first 2 singles were hits, and I Do came out and it was the biggest single of them all.
You said you've been doing this for quite some time, a career over 30 years. A lot of people have taken credit, become rich, really famous off of your songwriting talents and ability. To name a few, Celine Dion. I'm sure you're all fans of Britney Spears here. Backstreet Boys.
Well, it's because I'm colossally immature. So I can write songs for 98 Degrees as a 40-something, 50-something guy because I'm absolutely haplessly immature. And the key to being a successful artist, I think, is you have to kind of tap into that boyish or girlish sense of wonderment. You can't grow up too much. I honestly believe that.
Do you have any special kind of stories that you might want to share about any one of those, artists?
Well, there's a lot of stories.
Any gossip, anything strange?
Sure. Backstreet Boys were mad. They didn't want to. I'm going to do this song later. I recorded I Do and I Promise You on my new CD. But Backstreet Boys didn't want to cut I Promise You. It's just that I was lucky. The guy that owned it is Zomba Jive, Clive Calder, who was the most powerful guy. He discovered Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys. He would say to all these artists, you got to write with Dan Hill. And so I would have to walk in with these people from all over the world. They were mad at me, but they couldn't say no to Clive. So I'd always end up there to be this sort of passive-aggressive stuff. And I would have to overcome that.
Wow.
It was like I was the teacher's pet. No one likes a teacher's pet.
The chosen one. Okay, let's get back to some music now, shall we? And coming up, like you mentioned, I Do Cherish You. And then following that, you've got a track where Liz is going to come in and join you.
That's correct. I'll tell you what, because I'm I think one song at a time. I'll do I Do, and then I'll make up some wonderful lies about Liz before he comes on stage. But I'm performing it now. I Do the way we did it on the album, which was I wanted to do kind of an unplugged, kind of raw record, not too produced, because that's the era that we all. I mean, a lot of my friends here, like Libby, we all grew up, listening. Though I'm older than Libby, don't get me wrong, but we grew up listening to, singer-songwriters where you had to do it on guitar, right? It had to work with just a guitar and voice. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to go back to that, what Gordon Lightfoot and Joni Mitchell used to do.
Okay, we'll get a taste of that right now, everybody. Here's Dan Hill performing in the AM 740 concert lobby. The track is I Do Cherish You.
All I am, all I'll be, everything in this world, all that I'll ever need's in your eyes, shining at me. When you smile, I can feel all my passion unfolding. Your hand brushes mine, and 1,000 sensations seduce me, 'cause I do cherish you for the rest of my life. You don't have to think twice yes, I will love you still. From the depths of my soul, it's beyond my control. I've waited so long to say this to you. If you're asking, do I love you this much? I do. Oh, you know I do. In my world before you, lived outside my emotions, didn't know where I was going till that day I found you. How you opened my life to a new paradise, in a world torn by change, still with all my heart till my dying day. I do cherish you for the rest of my life. You don't have to think twice. I will love you, love you, love you still, from the depths of my soul. It's beyond my control. I've waited so long to say this to you. If you're asking, do I love you this much? Yes, I do. Oh, yeah. If you're asking, do I love you this much? I do. You know I do.
Thank you.
I would like to take this special moment now to introduce Liz Rodriguez, one of my oldest and dearest friends, who sings this song with me on my new intimate album. This is our first single. Liz has a song on Celine Dion's latest greatest hits album that she wrote. She also has a song that she wrote with Pitbull that she's singing with Pitbull. So I feel a little bit inadequate. You know, she goes straight from Miami doing a Pitbull video to Toronto to do a video with Mr. Straight and Narrow Don Mills. So anyway, how I feel is kind of a song about the disconnect. Sometimes it happens between a man and a woman when both are unable to listen to the other's point of view. So Liz is going to be kind enough to start this song.
Supper's cold, so am I. Seems you've lost your appetite. You say you're sorry, you always do. Try to make it right by saying I love you. That you know just what it is I'm going through. How would you know how it feels to wait up for you? How would you know what it's like to sleep alone? How would you know how it feels to feel this small? You'd rather drive uptown than walk down the hall. Don't tell me what I'm feeling isn't real. You never touch me, so how would you know how I feel?
I've worked my fingers to the bone to make the payments on this crazy home. Get so damn tired, oh, I can't speak. Trying to make a better life for you and me. If you could just stand in my shoes, you might see. How would you know how it feels to say I'm sorry?
You don't talk to me
like I do when I walk through our front door.
You left me waiting.
You don't know how it feels to watch you sleep, half a world away, lying next to me. Don't tell me what I'm feeling isn't real.
You never touch me, so how would you know how I feel? Don't wanna be the angry woman.
I've tried everything I can.
If you could see yourself like I do, maybe then you'd understand. How would you know how it feels to wait up for you?
You don't tell me.
How would you know what it's like to sleep alone?
Girl, I'm sorry. How would you know how it feels to feel this small?
You'd rather drive uptown than walk down the hall. So
Don't tell me what I'm feeling isn't real.
You never touch me, so how would you know how I feel? Baby, touch me. Maybe you'll see how I feel.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you, Dan.
Dan Hill and Liz Rodriguez performing the track How I Feel live in the AM 740 concert lobby. Stay with us. We've got much more coming up right after this quick break. Wow, that was moving. Hi there and welcome back to the AM 740 concert lobby. I'm Darrin Maharaj, your host for this very special, intimate, and interactive concert we're having here this afternoon. We've got the great Dan Hill, who's in here today playing songs from his brand new album. It's called Intimate. He's being joined with Liz Rodriguez. Here they are right now performing the song Can't We Try live in the concert lobby. Take it away, guys.
Here we go, guys.
I see your face cloud over like a little girl's, and your eyes have lost their shine. You whisper something softly I'm not meant to hear. Baby, tell me what's on your mind.
I don't care what people say about the two of us from different worlds. I love you so much that it hurts inside. Are you listening?
Please listen to me, girl.
Can we try just a little bit harder? Can we give just a little bit more?
Can we try to understand that it's love we're fighting for?
Can we try just a little more passion? Can we try just a little less pride? I love you so much, baby,
That it tears me up
inside.
I hear you on the telephone, the God knows it. Spilling out your heart for free, baby. Everyone is someone they could talk to. Come on, that someone should be me.
So many times I've tried to tell you, you just turned away.
How did I know?
My life is changing so fast now, leaves me lonely and afraid. Can we try just a little bit harder? Can we give just a little bit more?
Can we try to understand that it's love we're fighting for?
Can we try just a little more passion? Can we try just a little less pride? I love you so much, baby,
That it tears me up inside. Don't let our love fade away.
don't let our love fade away.
No matter what people say.
No matter what they so much, baby.
Can we try
Just a little bit harder. Can we give a little bit more?
Can we
A little bit harder. Can we give? Oh, can we try just a little more passion? Can we try just a little less pride? I love you so much, baby.
love you so much?
Love you so much,
Love
baby.
you so much.
Love you so much, baby.
I mean, can't we try and get these guys to come here and perform for us every day? Wouldn't that be nice? Wow, Dan Hill, Liz Rodriguez, guys, fantastic. Come on back up.
Here, let's do that. There you go.
Okay, now it's time that you know what, before we talk about the book, I gotta ask you something, Dan. Are you the most romantic man in the country? Because you write so many love songs. Who's your
Well,
inspiration?
My wife inspired Can't We Try, and she actually helped me write it because we had a huge fight. And that's the truth. And I skulked off to the piano room because, like a typical man, I communicate with songs, but I don't communicate in real life, right? So I skulked off to the piano room and started writing the song, and I could hear her complaining about me to her friend on the telephone. You know that feeling when you're hearing your wife or husband diss you, and it's kind of a very hollow feeling. And so I literally put it into the song. I hear you on the telephone to God knows who, because she was on the telephone. I just threw it in.
No kidding.
And then she came and said, "What the hell are you doing in there?" And I said, "Well, I'm writing this song, but you're complaining about me on the telephone. You should be, talking to me, woman to man." And she said, "Well, this is what the woman should say after what you said in that second verse." And then she wrote that beautiful part that the woman sings the second verse. And it was sort of like marriage counseling. We got together, after that, but then a strange thing happened. Guess what?
What's that?
The song became an absolute smash, and then we had a huge fight over how to split the royalties. So there you go.
Now, is that the origin of most of your songs? You end up getting into a fight, and then you end up...
Well, sometimes you plan the fights on purpose. You set little minefields up to say kind of. The truth is that not necessarily. When I was younger, writing songs like "Sometimes When We Touch" and those kind of songs, they did come out of fights and out of. I always joke about this, but it's true. They came out of a lot of sexual torment. This is when I was not married, because women, always tormented me. And then what happens is when you get older. And I've been lucky enough to be married to my wife Beverly for 27 years. You can't comment. You can't depend on sexual torment, hopefully, from your wife of 27 years. So you have to use the power of imagination and the power of empathy. So otherwise, you're dead. You can't always be getting in messed up relationships, especially if you're married. So therefore, I had to use the power of imagination and empathy when I got married.
So your big tip to all those guys that end up getting into a fight with their wife or girlfriend is?
Well, listen, I did a songwriting panel last week at Canadian Music Week with Dave Stewart of the Eurythmics, and he said the same thing. Like, he and Annie Lennox were together as a couple. They didn't write anything any good. Then they broke up, went on the road, did 250 radio, and they wrote like 10 hits in a year after they broke up. I'm not suggesting to anybody to break up, but this does happen. It's known to happen. Every breath you take, man. That's
There
the
you
best
have
breakup
it.
song ever.
The real truth to the secret of this man's success. So let's talk a bit about this book.
Okay.
It's called I Am My Father's Son. You gotta love the cover there. That's an amazing cover. Tell us, how long did it take you to create this book?
It took me 3.5 years because my dad had donated, because of his great work as a human rights pioneer and as the Ontario Ombudsman, he had donated all his personal and professional papers to the National Archives. So as I said earlier, when I was so busted up when I lost him, I knew the closest I could get to bringing him back to life would be to write a book about my father and me, our parallel lives, and the amazing, interesting, humorous love and competition we had. So when I went through all the letters that he wrote from 6 to 76, they kept everything, because this was in an era where he wrote letters, right? I saw a whole different part to my father I'd never seen when he was alive. And the thing I realized is that it's all the same, generation after generation after generation. We as sons always seek out our father's approval. I thought I was the only person, mine was the only generation. And as I saw how vulnerable he was through his heartfelt letters to his father, I loved him even more, And so it was a very cathartic experience. Actually, I'm actually doing, I think, a book reading and singing and signing at Indigo.
That's tomorrow.
Where is that? I got it written on. I'm doing Sarah Palin here.
He
Got it
does
written
what
on my
I
hand.
do.
Manulife
Writes on
Center.
his
But at
hand.
least I admit it. I write on my hand. So I'm doing, and this that kind of thing where I'll tell some stories and sing. I'll read some of the funny little fights my dad and me got in.
And that's at the Indigo, and that's at the Manulife Center on Bloor Street
at 2:00.
And let me check my hand. It's from 2 to 3 p.m.
And I'm giving AM 740 a kickback on all the sales. So there you go.
Okay, so up next, let's go to some more music, and we've got a track called "60s Child."
Yes.
The inspiration for this, other than being a child when it was the 60s?
Well, that it was a different time, and it was a time when parents would say, "Get out of the house and don't come back till it's dark out." And there was no, I know this sounds really curmudgeon-y, so excuse me, but there's no internet, there's no cell phone. Back then we had party lines, so we had to share lines with other neighbors. There were only 2 channels on the TV, and my dad, being a black pioneer, was always boycotting one of the channels for racist cartoons. So that left the CBC. When you're a kid, you don't like the CBC, right? You weren't born in 1960. I know that because you looked
slightly after that.
So we had to amuse ourselves. So I wanted to write a song about what it was like in the 60s, where the closest you got to technology was I would be fixing the rabbit ears on the black and white TV. And so I think it's important to chronicle that era because it was a really powerful and yet innocent era. So I wrote this song and put it on my new album because I've never heard a song like this before.
All right, well, let's hear it. Here's Dan Hill with 60s Child in the AM 740 concert lobby.
I was raised a 60s child where office towers stand. The grass grew wild and I could wander every day through farmers' fields and always feel safe. My parents' prized possession was a black and white TV. Sometimes we got 2 channels when the rabbit ears faced east. Long before Cassius Clay had changed his name, and a man named Martin had a dream of better days. When Kennedy was president and Russia was the threat and Vietnam was a place we hadn't heard of yet, divorce was not an option when couples walked the aisle. I was raised a 60s child. Remember when they said the Beatles wouldn't last, and hula hoops were all the rage then, and Elvis wasn't fat, and we all knew our neighbors, no one locked their door, and the moon was a place better off left unexplored. Oh, when Kennedy was president and Russia was the threat and Vietnam was a place we hadn't heard of yet, divorce was not an option when couples walked the aisle. I was raised a 60s child. We were gonna change the world. We were so convinced of that. Now we look in the mirror, we see our parents looking back. When Kennedy was president and Russia was the threat and Vietnam was a place we hadn't heard of yet, divorce was not an option when couples walked the aisle. I was raised a 60s child.
Very nice, very nice. Dan Hill performing 60s Child. Stay with us. We've got much more live from the concert lobby right after this quick break. Very nice.
We're all like joined here.
Welcome back to the AM 740 Concert Lobby. I'm Darrin Maharaj, your host for this intimate and interactive concert we're having here this evening, this afternoon rather. And we've got the great Dan Hill here with us, and we're talking about his new album. It's called Intimate, and right now we're going to play a track called Africville Skies.
That's correct.
Now, for those of you out there that might not know where or what Africville is, can you fill us in?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that Joe Seeley is going to do this song with me. Joe wrote the music to this song, and I originally wrote this song for Joe Seeley's Africa Suite CD back in '97, and Joe won a Juno for Jazz Album of the Year So kudos to Joe. But
All right, Joe.
I would like Joe maybe to tell the story, of what inspired him to do this Africville Suite, because it's yet another moving father-son story.
Yeah, it certainly is. My dad was born in Africville, and when my grandparents, when he was about 9 years old, my grandparents decided to move to Montreal, figuring a better life was probably available. But my dad always kept his ties to the community of Africville, and I actually got to visit it just before the demolition started when I was a teenager, and got to see the hospitality, the wonderful warmth of the community. He died in '92, and as part of the healing process, I wrote a piece called Africville, which I put on an earlier album called Dual Vision. I was encouraged to write more, and as a result of much prodding and my wife just not letting me getting away with not doing it, I ended up writing the Africville Suite. And when some of the songs required lyrics, I immediately thought of Dan Hill, and he graciously accepted, and this is one of the songs.
And just to add to this, Africville was the first black community in Canada formed just around the Bedford Basin, just outside of Halifax, 1812. It was a 400-strong community, very, very close-knit, self-sustained community. And it was demolished in the mid-'60s by the Halifax government for no reason. The people were thrown out of their homes. 2 weeks ago, as we all may recall, the mayor of Halifax, the government apologized to the descendants of Africville and gave them, $3 million to build towards a museum. So this is really written, about what it was like to be thrown out of Africville, how it feels to be dispossessed. So in some ways, this was one of the hardest lyrics for me to write, because it made me, it really touched me. So I'm honored that Joe would ask me to help him write this song, so we'll do it now.
I think we should touch base also, Joe picking up the recent award for the Order of Canada, correct?
Yes, Joe has been awarded Order of Canada.
Very good. Here's Dan Hill and Joe Seeley with Africville Skies in the concert lobby.
Sometimes I dream of a home I once had on a land that we called Africville, where my daddy was born and his daddy before had a dream I was there, chasing the trains in the heat of the day. Wouldn't stop till we'd see someone wave, swimming under the sun. We were too young to know life would change. Sometimes I dream of a church where we'd sing till my heart seemed to grow wings. At night, all alone, I asked, where did it all go? Africville, you'll never know how your love overflows. You're a part of my soul, Africville. Sometimes I dream of a place I can be who I am without feeling afraid. I can still close my eyes, see my dreams flying high in those Africville skies, Africville skies. I wanna go back to Africa, to those Africville skies. Sometimes I dream of a
Thank you, Joe. That was amazing. I would like to ask Liz Rodriguez to join me for one final duet. And this is a song I actually wrote. Again, it was a personal song because all my friends seemed to be breaking up. And my wife kept looking at me like, are you next? And I felt I needed to write a song to reassure her that I wasn't going anywhere. I had no idea that the Backstreet Boys were going to cut it, and they were forced to cut it. They did it under duress. And the funny thing was that then NSYNC had a song out at the same time called I Promise You. And by some fluke, I ended up hanging out with NSYNC one night. But I said to my friend who was working with NSYNC, whatever you do, don't tell them I wrote the Backstreet Boys song because they hated each other. And I was running around with NSYNC, and then suddenly they found out that I'd written what they thought was the enemy's song, and they almost killed me. They threw me out of the van at 3 a.m. It was very embarrassing. So that's my little confession. This is on the album with Liz singing her angelic heart out. We thought we would do it a little differently than the Backstreet Boys. We would do it as a duet. I think actually it's better as a duet. What do you think, Liz?
It's in the silences, the words you never say. I see it in your eyes, always starts the same way.
Seems like everyone we know is breaking up. Does anybody ever stay in love anymore?
I promise you, from the bottom of my heart, I will love you till death do us part. I promise you, as a lover and a friend, I will love you like I'll never love again.
With everything I am.
Do-do-do. I see you look at me when you think I'm not aware, searching for clues, just how deep my feelings are.
How do you prove the sky is blue, the ocean's wide? All I know is what I feel when I look into your eyes.
I promise you, from the bottom of my heart, I will love you till death do us part. I promise you, as a lover and a friend, I will love you like I'll never love again. With everything I am. There are no guarantees, that's what you always say to me.
And late at night I feel the tremble in your touch. What I'm trying to say to you, I've never said to anyone.
Oh, I promise you, from the bottom of my heart, I will love you till death do us part. I promise you, as a lover and a friend, I will love you like I'll never love again. With everything I am. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you, Liz. Well, I think that's a bit better than the Backstreet Boys, wouldn't you say? Dan Hill, Liz Rodriguez performing I Promise You, and that was I was, I almost feel like I need to call my girlfriend and apologize. For what? I don't know, but I feel like I need to do something. Anyways, we've got time for like one quick interactive part of the show.
Absolutely.
We're going to ask a quick question from the audience. And let's take it. Who's got the question? What's your question for Dan?
Hi, I love your music.
Thank you.
I was wondering, what is the biggest inspiration in your life?
Well, my parents. My parents have been the biggest inspiration in my life. First of all, because they had an unbelievable love affair, and that is not to mean that they didn't have problems, but it was unconditional love. So that when my mother was really sick in the hospital when I was 10 or 11, my dad, who was starting the Ontario Human Rights Commission, raising 3 kids, would come home from the commission, braid my little sister's hair, then go to the hospital, see my mom, always with chocolates and a letter and flowers. And he sent a wonderful message. My mom got better, but he sent a wonderful message to us as children of what a real man should be. And it's not like a world beater. It's not like a hit songwriter. It's the unconditional love. Then when my dad became ill in the last 5 years of his life, my mom gave up everything to be by his side. And so my parents will always be my heroes, not just because they were because my mom's so alive, brilliant, inspiring people, but mostly because of the unconditional love they show to each other.
Thank you.
Wow, well, time has just flown by. This past hour's just gone by so quickly. Time flies when you're having a good time, they say, right?
I like I said, Darrin, I feel like I'm just hanging out with you in your living room.
Well, that's the way we like to have it here in the concert lobby, right, guys? We're all just hanging out, playing some music, jamming. All right, well, we've got time for one more song. We're going to try and squeeze it in. And I think you guys may have heard this one before.
Well, this song was written a long time ago before most of you were born. I will say that. And I decided on my album, because Sometimes When I Touch has been covered by so many singers, that I thought it would be fun to cover it on my intimate album, but as an unplugged, kind of very raw, soulful version, because in a way, when I recorded it and it became a big hit, I was like only 22, and it's really taken me all these years to actually grow into these lyrics. So, and also Manny Pacquiao is supposed to be the biggest boxer of all time.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
sings
right.
the song all the time. Every time he beats someone up, he's on Jimmy Kimmel, and I'm saying, well, I'm going to go down to Vegas, and we're going to have a karaoke shootout. If he thinks he can sing better than me, I'm going to have a boxing match, because we're exactly the same height and weight. So, Manny, listen to the way I sing this, and we're going to have a karaoke shootout next time you do a boxing match.
My
Does that
money's
sound
on
terrible?
you. It sounds good. Here's Dan Hill with Sometimes When We Touch.
And before I start, I want to thank AM 740, Livy Neimer. The Neimers, I've known them and loved them, since I was 20. So I feel like we've all, in our strange but wonderful way, grown up together. So thank you so much for making me feel so at home.
We're happy to have you here, Dan. Dan Hill, everybody.
Okay, sorry, this is a little bit of a confession here. Someone knocked my binder. It's like schoolwork, right? It's like cheating on an exam. Now, you would think that because I've sung this song about 10 billion times, I would know the chords.
You forgot the words?
No, I didn't forget the words. So please forgive that little silence. I was actually on my hands and knees grabbing my binder with the chords. That's a confession. The honesty is too much here.
You ask me if I love you, and I choke on my reply. I'd rather hurt you honestly than mislead you with a lie. And who am I to judge you on what you say or do? I'm only just beginning to see the real you. And sometimes when we touch, the honesty's too much, and I have to close my eyes and hide. I wanna hold you till I die, till we both break down and cry. I wanna hold you till the fear thoughts and all strategy leaves me battling with my pride. But through the insecurity, some tenderness survives. I'm just another writer, oh, still trapped within my truth. A hesitant prize fighter, so trapped within my youth. And sometimes when we touch, the honesty's too much, and I have to close my eyes and hide. I wanna hold you till I die, till we both break down and cry. I wanna hold you till the fear in me subsides. At times I'd like to break you and drive you to your knees. Oh, times I'd like to break through and hold you endlessly. Hold me, just hold me, yeah. At times I understand you, and I know how hard you try. I've watched while love commands you, I've watched love pass you by. At times I think we're drifters, so searching for a friend, brother or a sister, but then the passion flares again, it flares again. And sometimes when we touch, the honesty's too much, and I have to close my eyes and hide. I wanna hold you till I die, till we both break down and cry. I wanna hold you till the fear in me, the fear in me, oh, subsides.
Wow. Very nice. That's Dan Hill. He's back, and he's better than ever, folks. Come on up here and join me, Dan. Wow, that was Sometimes When We Touch. That's a new version off of his album. It's called Intimate. Go out, pick it up. It's in stores right now, right?
It is in stores right now, but thank you again. I remember Moses actually stopped me on the street. I'll say this really quickly. In 1977, says, "Man, that's an amazing song. I love that song." And then he turned to his friend. This is when City was right across from my managers. Turned to this big hulking guy. Says, "Do you like that song?" He says, "No, I don't like it at all." That was the first time I met Moses. So there's to the guy that didn't like the song. Maybe he likes it now.
Sometimes When We Touch. Okay, so the new album is out there in stores, and you can also pick up the book.
Yes.
And the book is available, Chapters Indigo.
It's available everywhere, and thank God HarperCollins has done a great job. The paperback is already into its second printing 3 weeks after it came out. So I don't know, I'm lucky.
I gotta touch you right now, Dan, and tell you thank you so much for coming down and hanging out with all of us. I also want to thank everybody in the audience for coming down and joining us in the concert lobby. Everyone listening over the airwaves, watching online, thank you all so much. And be sure tomorrow, right?
Yes.
That's Indigo at the Manulife Center,
Yes.
2 to 3 p.m. Buy a book.
Yeah, or just listen to some of my wacky stories. I'll sing some songs, tell some stories. And I also want to thank Joe Seeley, Liz Rodriguez. They inspire me to be better.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. And remember, for more information, danhill.com. For AM 740, I'm Darrin Maharaj saying we'll see you next time, live from the concert lobby. Very nicely done, brother.